Thank you all for coming out. We appreciate it. This is the first time we've been back since August of 2019, so this is a huge deal. And for the 30th anniversary of the UFC, we're doing a lot of these panels around the country and around the globe for people who are significant to the area. So today is a very, very cool panel. I'm so honored to be hosting this. I went to college just down the road. Seton Hall University plays basketball here. That is who let's give it up for the Pirates. Love them so much. So very proud to be back here and really excited for this Q&A. So we're gonna start with media questions, and then you'll see 2 microphones. If you guys have questions, line up. We'll do our best to get to them. But we do have a press conference later between Amanda and Erin, and so we don't have a ton of time. Make sure you don't ask for questions. We are sold out, and photo opportunities we can't do, but we'll see if they can actually hang around and maybe take some pictures after this panel. So we'll do our very best. But today we've got a really great one for you. I can't believe the names that we've put together for this Q&A, so I'm so honored that you all showed up. I want to start with an absolute pioneer in mixed martial arts, a legend, the owner of the very famous Renzo Gracie Academy. There's a Gracie on the card tomorrow night, and we have got Renzo Gracie with us here today in New Jersey. Please give him a warm welcome. Homedale, New Jersey's own. Renzo, thanks for being here. Great to see you. All right, you saw her breakthrough performance this February. She is an absolute rising star in this organization. I believe she will be a future champion. She fights out of Elmwood Park, New Jersey. Please welcome Erin Blanchfield. And like all proper New Jersey girls, she's got hoops on. The only way. All right, he is the all-time wins leader for the UFC. He just continues to put on brilliant performances year after year. Fought on UFC 100 and 200. His goal is to fight on UFC 300. Please welcome Sparta's own Jim Miller. With the great hair today. Wow, yeah, show it off. And finally, a man who truly needs no introduction in New Jersey. He fights out of Toms River, New Jersey. He is our former lightweight champion. He is freshly retired, deservedly so. Please give it up for Frankie Edgar. Frankie is coming straight from a school field trip where he was a chaperone. Imagine Frankie Edgar being your school trip chaperone. So media, I think there is a roaming microphone. Okay, Mike Bond already has it. I was gonna start him with a softball, but let's go.
All right. Frankie, I guess just obviously here in the home state, how's retirement going?
It's going. I don't feel very retired. I feel like I'm still pretty busy, but...
If it depends on me, he's not retiring. Yeah. Just to let you guys know. I'll get on his butt again and push him forward. Yeah. He has a lot of fights on his heart.
Is Renzo still trying to get you to compete?
Well, you know, fighting's the best thing a man can have in his soul. Come on.
You know that.
Yes.
Renzo, for you, obviously, we have Crone Gracie fighting tomorrow night. Just give us kind of a breakdown of his fight and what are you expecting out of him coming off his first loss?
It's so great to see a Grace back in there, you know, and this kid is amazing. And he had a very tough fight last time. He followed a strategy that we are not planning to see him doing, which was standing the whole fight. But he did it, and he showed that he can do it. And I know you guys are going to see a different Crone this time, you know. He's been dedicating himself to training a lot, and I know the result will be perfect.
What can we expect out of, you know, the next generation of Gracies beyond Crone? Can you kind of give us some insight on
I don't think you're going to find someone as handsome as me in my future generation. But
never.
But I've been working a lot, and my schools are killing, you know, and I have a lot of family members training, and I believe we all should fight. If you were born with the Gracie name, you should have been there, you know, and I'm now investing on the new generations to be competing in performance in front of you guys.
And for Jim, you have your 42nd UFC fight booked. Just give us some thoughts on Ludovic Klein and this matchup.
You know, it's another tough opponent, another guy that's younger than me and hungry.
They're not gonna,
yeah.
How many
So yeah, it's a good fight. It's a tough fight, and I'm excited. You know, I'm excited every time I get the opportunity to step into the octagon, and this is just another opportunity for me to put on a show for the fans and, cement my legacy a little bit more.
And just lastly for Erin, we know you're gunning for that title shot before the belt changed and everything. It's likely we're going to get a rematch there. So what's kind of your goals going forward, and what do you think is going to be next for you?
I hope someone else in the top 5 is next for me, because I feel like since they're going to rematch, I would like to fight before I fight one of them for the title. So yeah, I plan to fight one more time, be whoever's in front of me, and then fight for the title.
I think I see the schmo with the mic. Just a reminder, if you fans have questions, there's 2 microphones here. If you want to get in line, we will get to you.
Question for Frankie Edgar. In terms of legacy, who do you think has more on the line for this main event between Henry Cejudo and Aljamain Sterling?
I'd have to go with Cejudo as far as legacy, just because everything he's accomplished in his career. Gold medal, 25-pound champ, 35-pound champ. If he can get this done, that's a pretty impressive resume. I know he said he wants to go up to 45. If he does something like that that's never been done, I mean, that's a lot of legacy on the line.
I guess we can go down the panel and get that answer from everybody.
I got to agree with Frankie. I think Henry's got a little more pressure when it comes to legacy, like you said. I think it's a great fight. As a fan, I'm expecting a battle.
What was the question again?
In terms of legacy, who has more on the line in the main event?
Yeah, I definitely agree with them. It's Henry. He's already been an Olympic gold medalist. He's won 2 titles, so coming back and winning another one again would just kind of cement himself even more.
The beauty of our sport is the moment that that bell rings, forget the past. History has to be written that day. And I have to be honest, I sat down, I belong to this sport, I sat down on the last UFC and I pick up the fights. From 10 fights, I made 9 mistakes. And I know about this business. So in reality, every fight is a surprise box. We're gonna see who has the biggest legacy when the arm is raised.
And Jim, it's no secret you want to compete at UFC 300. So in a perfect world, who would be a great dance partner for you on that date?
My grandfather.
Yeah. There's only one other guy that's fought on 100 and 200, and that's this little guy named Brock Lesnar. So, honestly, I'm not looking past Klein. As you get older, like, the love for the sport stays there, but man, it does not get any easier. So I'm just taking this one step at a time. Leading up to my last fight, I'd said that I'd like 300 to be my 45th UFC fight. And this will be 42. So, or 40. I lost count.
I lost count.
But, it's, there's still...
You gotta go to sharedog.com.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I always do. What's your record? I don't know. So I'm just going to keep going forward and take it one fight at a time. Hopefully I do get the opportunity to fight another legend at UFC 300 and get the opportunity. I'm still... the idea is that I still don't know if it's going to happen, but it's in there. I put it out there that's what I want. I'm a stubborn guy, so I'm confident that I can make it there. Whoever it ends up being, I'm not too worried about it at the moment.
Oh, first and foremost, congratulations on your incredible careers, and obviously your career is still going on. And thanks for putting, from one New Jersey resident to another, thank you for putting New Jersey mixed martial arts on the map. So this question's for Renzo Gracie. You were there at Pride 1. You're one of the legends of the sport. Your family built the building blocks of this sport. But one of them is the legendary Helio Gracie. If he was still alive today, what would he say about the evolution of the sport from the days that he was fighting in the ring?
In reality, it's amazing to see how the sport went. I had the privilege, I'm 56 right now. So I had the privilege to know the first generations of Gracies, the one that began the jiu-jitsu in Brazil, to the young ones born now. My grandson is 7. The other day he looked at me and he goes, I say, what do you want to be when you grow up? Do you want to be a cop? Do you want to be a firefighter? He goes, no, I want to be a fighter, a very good one. I go, like Grandpa. He goes, were you really good? Otherwise, I'll be better. So those were the best words I ever heard in my life, you know, and he's training 6 days a week. And I had the privilege of seeing this sport growing like crazy. We had setbacks like Senator McCain that stopped the event from evolving, took out of television for a while. But we are fighters, and fighting is what we do. We don't care. We laugh, we keep going forward. I fought for $1,000, and I fought for $400,000. I didn't care. I couldn't believe they were paying me for something that if the doorman bothered me, I would beat him up for free. You know? So that's the reality. And I saw the sport evolving and growing and making heroes like these amazing people here. You know, and I was very lucky to have the chance to see our generations and the whole process. I was 52 times in Japan. I fought everywhere you could imagine. I was there. I was supporting fighters. I was paying for my tickets to go there to help them, you know. And it was a unique experience, you know. My life, I wouldn't change. If I could live again, I would do everything again.
Awesome. And one more question for all four of you guys. Jim Miller has a great gym. Renzo, Gracie, you have a great establishment. Frankie Edgar, your establishment. What can you identify in the next generation of kids that are growing up? They want to compete. They come up to you guys. They say, I want to make it to the UFC. What advice would you give them, or what can you identify of somebody that's going to be successful in the sport as you were and are?
Yeah, I would say find a wrestling school, jiu-jitsu school, Muay Thai school. One of them, jump in and immerse yourself. Fall in love with it. You know, it should consume you. You should, you know, if you really want to be successful, it has to consume you, every part of you. TR, baby.
Yes.
I would say, you know, depending on the age, right? I'd say tell the kid to get into the weight room. You know, the sport is just as much about the technical aspects as it's about athleticism. You can make up for you know, deficiencies in technique with athleticism. You can make up for deficiencies in athleticism with technique. So you're going to have to grind. You're going to have to put in that type of effort where you're not going to see immediate results. And a young 10, 12-year-old kid that can get into the weight room and do strength and conditioning and not see those results immediately and not really be doing something that's considered fun is going to have that grit and that mentality that when things start to get tough and that grind starts to happen because you are wrestling and training in jiu-jitsu and judo and boxing and Muay Thai and still doing all the strength and conditioning and recovery stuff, that you're used to it and you're used to not seeing the payoff immediately. Because honestly, I think in today's world, that's one of the toughest parts, right? We get instant gratification on our phone, and you know, as a father of four, it's tough for me to kind of tell my kids, like, hey, you know, you're going to do things in life, and the greatest things you do in life, you're not going to see results instantly. You're going to have to work for it, and it's going to come after a long time of hard work. So I'd say pick up a weight and try to get jacked.
Are your kids jacked? Are they lifting?
They lift a little bit, yeah. I try to get them in there, you know. It's tough.
Yeah, for me, I would say, you know, find gyms you like a striking gym, jiu-jitsu gyms. I started training when I was 7 years old, so pretty young, and compete as soon as you feel comfortable. I feel like competing always made me want to go back to the gym, win or lose. I always wanted to get better, and it was super motivating. You know, you have to love it. There's a balance with everything, but I think you need to love training, and you need to love being in the gym and being part of that process. If you don't love it, it's not really for you. Because I feel like it was always a passion of mine, and it made it easy to want to go to the gym, made it easy to want to compete. So I think you just need to find something you're passionate about and throw yourself into it.
You have ears. It's more cauliflower
Ears
than I
to prove
do.
it.
What the heck? My brother, you have to teach the kids to love it. You can't force them. Children cannot be forced. But you have to make in a way that they will love every second they are there. My grandson trains 6 days a week. You know how many times I ask him to train? 0. I just take him there and let him enjoy. And then they start falling in love, that becomes their playground. And he asked me to go to the academy to train. He does jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, wrestling, and he's doing gymnastics too. And it's the funniest thing because my wife told me last week, she goes, he's the happiest when he's in there. So make him love it without forcing him. Don't demand from children. Show them the way and set the example. Every time he was there, he would see me training. And then he started mimicking the moves and doing the same thing. It sets the road for the future. For sure, I see on him a champion in the near future.
Neil, you can give them, we can do one more from media.
Thanks, Megan. Erin, one for you. Dana White announced yesterday at the press conference that he plans to come back to Madison Square Garden before the end of the year. Is that going to be a goal of yours to get on that card?
Oh, for sure, depending on what it is and who they want me to fight. I loved fighting MSG last time. I love being home and be able to do that. So, yeah, it'd be perfect.
Awesome. And then, Frankie, I see on Instagram you're always busy training. You just Mark Gray threw you out of a cage or something like that. Any chance you're getting the niche to come back and compete, or am I reaching?
Compete maybe, but not in UFC. Compete,
Don't give his wife a heart
about that. About that.
We got him back, don't worry. I never see nobody like this guy. I never see him tired in my life. His whole life I've seen him training. I wish one time we were in Abu Dhabi, he's doing a warm-up. The Brazilians were looking at him and they said, if I did this warm-up, I wouldn't train, I'll be tired.
I believe that because I have seen Frankie backstage, and sometimes I'm like, oh, he already had a full fight and a half. Before we get to fan questions, quickly, I kind of want to touch upon what he talked about with the MSG fight. So much was made when MMA was legalized in New York, and everybody was excited to have fights all across New York, from Brooklyn to MSG throughout upstate. But New Jersey has always been there for the UFC. I'm just curious, so many of you have competition memories here. What are your thoughts now that we're back here and it's the 30th anniversary? Do you have a New Jersey fight moment that stands out for you?
Absolutely. I fought the first UFC event in this building, UFC 78. And I fought Spencer Fisher. Yeah, opened the pay-per-view card and getting the fight home in Jersey. It's 45-minute drive home. It's not so bad.
Jersey's always been here.
I fought quite a few times here at the Prudential, and I think the most impactful fight that I've had here is UFC 128. I fought Kamal Shahrus, fought on the main card immediately after my brother, which was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Who had been able to do something as crazy as it was with my brother, and because I don't think any other set of siblings are going to be that nuts. But it was impactful to me, and something I'll always remember.
UFC 128 was a huge night. John Jones became champion that night. There was just so much that happened in this building. All right, we have a couple of fan questions that we want to get to before we close the microphone, guys, because we only have a few. You were here first and waiting so patiently, so go ahead.
What's going on in New Jersey? First and foremost, thank you guys for being here. Erin, my question's for you. I was in a class, I go to Montclair State University. Kelly Whiteside, my professor, said that you were in her class, but then you had to drop out because obviously you're pursuing the championship. But my question to everyone, and especially for you, is what is the significance to be back in New Jersey, but most importantly to represent? Because I feel like we always have a chip on our shoulder. We're always the underdogs, always overlooked. But I feel like in your style, in your style of fighting and your grit and your dogs, all of you guys. So, what is being part of New Jersey, and what does it signify to you? And do you wear it as a shield?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's awesome to have the UFC back here in New Jersey. I'd love to fight New Jersey one day with the UFC. I haven't had that privilege of doing that yet. But Jersey's filled with athletes, wrestlers, fighters. I think we make our point on the big stages, and it's great to be part of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you pointed something out, like we got a chip on our shoulder, you got that attitude. I think those are all big reasons why we were up here. We're all successful. But one of the biggest reasons, because that man moved to the East Coast. If Renzo Gracie was from the East Coast, I don't think MMA jiu-jitsu would be where it is today.
Amen.
And that is one thing that nobody knows. MMA became legal in New York, right? How that happened?
You guys were campaigning for years.
No. Not even Dana White knows.
Tell me.
When I moved to New Jersey, I rent the house of an amazing old lady who her son run the hotel union. And he became my best friend. And I believe that I asked him to do it.
We'll take it. Hey, whatever made it happen. We love it. Go ahead.
Hey guys, everyone from Kazakhstan. We came all the way from Kazakhstan. So nice to see you guys. And I have a little brother. He's 11 years old and a huge fan for the UFC. And he just texts me for the fighters. And he have a question. If you could fight with any character from movie, who will it be and why?
Any character from a movie.
I'll get Frank Dukes. Frank Dukes, me and him. Battle for the Franks.
Oh, I don't even know.
Superman?
Yeah, let's go big. Yeah, something like I'll fight Thor.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
There you go.
Excellent answer.
Yeah, I'll go big too. I guess I'll fight Wonder Woman.
There you go.
Yes.
She just robbed my choice. I was waiting for that hug to do that grapple.
Oh my God.
Thank you guys. I think he happy.
Thank you. Go ahead.
All right, this question's for Megan O'Leary.
Oh my-
Shout out Seton Hall alumni.
That's right. Pirate Pride forever.
Yes, I graduate this year, so I just want to know some advice from your graduating from Seton Hall, some experience you had, and like how that helped you find your passion.
Oh my gosh, it was the greatest 4 years. I am so grateful for everything that Seton Hall gave me. I feel like some of my best memories of my life were in this building. But the proximity to New York City is so vital, I feel like. So being able to get work experience, internships, and just really work your tail off in the classroom, as well as getting hands-on experience in whatever you want to do, because the greatest city in the world is right here at our fingertips. It's invaluable. It's something that will set you apart. And just enjoy every second, because you're still a kid at the end of the day until graduation.
Thanks so much, that means a lot. And then you actually stole my question. I was going to ask everyone up there their favorite New Jersey fighting moment in their career. So I'll go to the backup. Frankie, what do you think about New Jersey State Wrestling now, and like how it affected you, and kind of like did that bring you to the UFC?
Yeah, definitely. Wrestling in New Jersey is special, obviously. Super competitive. It's kind of wrestling in Atlantic City, big stages, Meadowlands. It definitely gets you ready for arenas like this. So, like I said, blue collar, gritty, wrestling, Renzo, Gracie, can't lose.
All right, thanks so much, everyone up there. Sick fit, Jim, I love it.
Go Hall. All right, we have time for 2 more questions, I'm being told. I'm sorry. Everyone's been waiting so nicely, but go ahead.
I'm not touching it.
This is a question for all of the retired and current fighters on stage.
There's nobody with those qualities here. What are you talking about?
Out of every venue that you guys competed in, which one had kind of the loudest crowd?
I think loudest crowd. I don't know.
Loudest crowd was me in Brazil, fighting in the cage with people kicking me on the cage. And I hit one of the guys who stick his head in the ring, was the loudest. The most silent was Japan. 100,000 people in the arena. You could hear anybody fart if they did it in there. That's how silent it was, Unbelievable. So it depends on the country. A lot of times it depends on the country, Brazil, people were jumping in the cage. Yeah, look at that. Tell them. The best memories I had, I tell you right now. But Americans are not behind, You guys are an amazing support, and that's why I chose to live here in Jersey, next to these guys. I love this country, and I never thought I could live outside Brazil until I came to Jersey and New York. I fell in love, and I made my life here.
I would say for me, one of the loudest crowds is probably MSG, even though I was getting booed. pretty loud walking out, pretty loud. I could hear it all. It sounded like everyone was like almost synchronized in their boos. But being able to walk out there and then finish the fight in the first round in silence, everybody, was the most satisfying.
They did cheer you on your way out, though.
They did cheer me on the way out, reluctantly.
That was quite the performance.
How's it going there, guys? So I was just wondering, what was one of the most impactful fights in all of your guys' career?
My impactful fight, I'll say when I fought Sean Shirk. I was up until that point, I wrestled a whole lot in a lot of my fights, and in the Sean Shirk fight, I got to display my striking ability, which I worked on a whole bunch. So that was kind of like a coming out party for me.
Impactful, I'd say overall would be when Renzo fought Oleg and like landed the up kick. That's the first UFC fight I ever saw. I was at wrestling camp.
1996.
Yeah.
That's when I moved
yeah.
to America.
It was, I think we had a VHS tape for you guys. That's how we used to watch movies in the old
The
days.
kids don't know what that is.
And yeah, that was the first UFC fights that I ever saw, and I was like, man, I want to do that someday.
I'd say the most impactful fight for me, I guess personally, would be my last fight. It was my first main event against a former world champ, and everything going into it got turned into a main event last minute, a new opponent last minute, and I was still even there and get a finish. So that was definitely one of the most impactful fights for me.
This girl is the sweetest girl you have ever seen on the mats. I never thought that I would be looking to a world champion fighter here. He's sweet, quiet, trained, very technical, but the way that she dominates her opponents, and she's for sure a world champion material, And I couldn't believe it's the same as my niece Kira. We raised her like a princess. The whole house was pink, and then she had more titles than I do. I cannot even believe. My moments, I was lucky because like I told you, I was in a time that there was no weight division, no gloves. When I fought Takhtarov, they announced my weight was 180. But in reality, I was 155. Takhtarov, it was like 230, And I remember he didn't know that he was fighting me. When we go, the whole time he's eyeballing my training partner because he was a big guy. So all the time he's looking at my training partner until they call me to square off with him. He looked at me, he goes, "What is this? Is this a joke?" And I just smile, and then he says, "If I knew," that's exactly his words, "if I knew, I would go smoke a joint and go to a strip club." My English was a little poor. I only said to him, "I wouldn't do that if I was you. Otherwise, I'd have Kiev chicken for dinner tomorrow." All the Russians laugh but him. And he keep asking me for a rematch, say that I was lucky. Say, more you train, luckier you get. You know how it is. And then Maurice Smith. I beat 2 UFC heavyweights when I was 155 pounds, I don't know if you could do that today. They got tough, they learned better, they are good fighters. But I was very fortunate. I was able to beat 5 UFC champions. And when I get my ass in there, I got my ass kicked by Matt Hughes. So I couldn't lose to a better person. He's a guy that I saw fighting since he was a kid, and I was proud to have fought him and lost to him,
Well, listen, that's all the time we have for now. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Without so many of you, the sport would not be where it is. And Erin, you are carrying the future of New Jersey mixed martial arts so proudly and so well. We look forward to your next fight. Thank you to all of you for all you have done for the sport and will continue to do. And thank you to all of you for your continued love for New Jersey athletes, the UFC, and the sport of mixed martial arts. We absolutely love you and love being from New Jersey. So in just a couple of minutes, they're going to flip this stage around, and Amanda Nunes and Randy Aldana will be here to answer questions about their upcoming bout, UFC 289, which goes down on June 10th in Vancouver. But don't forget, tomorrow, UFC 288 from right here, The Rock. Thanks, guys.